Templates are a new feature in 3ds Max 2016, and let me just go ahead and show you some of the templates that ship with the program. Go up to the application menu and choose New from Template. And let's begin by exploring this sample architectural outdoor template. I'll select that and click Create New Scene. This template contains a couple of placeholder objects. This hand pointing down at the building should give you the clue that you're supposed to put your architectural model in here. I'm just going to place a teapot in there as a placeholder. And let's go ahead and render it. I'm going to click on this teapot icon right over here. And incidentally, I can go to some blank place on the toolbar and I can drag back and forth. Because my screen resolution is set fairly low for this video, I can't see everything on the toolbar, so I have to drag it back and forth sometimes. I'll click this teapot to make a rendering, and it's going to show us that it makes a nice outdoor rendering. It's using the mental ray renderer, and you can tell because these little things here, they're called buckets, and they're rendering each little square one at a time, and each processor in the computer gets one bucket. So it's a parallel processing kind of affair. And this is set to a draft level of precision, so it's fairly grainy. But you get the idea. This is good for starting with outdoor scenes. Let's try another template. Go to New from Template. Don't save. And let's try the sample studio scene. This uses an entirely different lighting method. And this scene apparently was modeled in metric units, so we're getting this mismatch warning. Let's just go ahead and adopt the file's unit scale. So we're going to switch over to millimeters. And we'll go ahead and make another test rendering. I'll just click on the teapot up here and see what happens. So it's displaying the rendering. This is a much more complex scene because it's an architectural interior that's illuminated by 3 sky portals. And it's using Final Gather to calculate the indirect illumination. That's what it's computing right now. You can see in this status window. I'm going to cancel that because it's going to take quite a while. And I can go up here and choose region, and then I'll just resize this and render just a little bit of this and click the render button down here in the corner. And then all of the effort will be spent rendering this box. So there's an object on a table there. So this template is really ideal if you had an object that you wanted to render. It also comes with a couple of cameras you can access here. We're looking right now through the far camera. We can look through the close camera and do a rendering from here if we want. And we'll see that the illumination is nice and even. So it's great for rendering objects. And again, this is just a low precision rendering right now. I'll click this box to close that and go back to view. Okay, now let's go ahead and open up another template. I want to click on this arrow so I get the choice to say New from Template. Now don't save. Let's try the sample outdoor HDRI courtyard template and click Create New Scene. HDRI stands for High Dynamic Range Image. So this is an image that has much more information in it as compared to a normal image. It's in inches, so we're going to switch again to inches. The drawing units are set in here under Units Setup, and this is using fractional inches. Even deeper still, there's the system unit, and this is set so that 1 unit is 1 inch. That information is saved in the template, saved in the scene file that we're using. And that's why when we came from the metric file in the studio scene, it asked us to choose what we wanted to do, either keep it as metric or switch over to inches. All right, now this particular template has a ground cylinder object here. I'm going to place a teapot on it just for a placeholder. And I will do a rendering. Let's see what we get. So this renders very quickly in comparison to the other scenes, and it's because there's just a background image here, which is a bitmap, and then this cylinder and the teapot. So it's very simple. However, there's a problem with the template. It's not illuminated properly. So I see that as an opportunity to show you where you can save the updated template that we're going to fix in a moment. So let's go up to the rendering menu and go to environment. And the problem with this template is down below here. I'm going to scroll down and change the physical scale from disabled to custom. And we're going to change this to 200 candelas. Seems about right to me. And then we're going to render it again. Now it looks a lot better. So the illumination from this scene is primarily coming from image-based lighting. And that is, it's coming from this background image. I know that because I've investigated the template. Let me just share that information with you real quick. So first of all, if you go up here, you'll see that the environment has a map there. And that map is this ping image. I'd like to look at that. So I'm going to open up the material editor by pressing M. And if you're in the slate editor, you can go to the compact editor by choosing modes, compact material editor. And then we can just drag this over and drop it on a slot and choose instance. And then in here, down here, there's a thing that says view image. If you click on that, you'll see the spherically distorted high dynamic range image that's used in the environment. That is what is illuminating the scene. And we can also go into the render setup dialog, and you can see right here that the skylight in the scene, this one here, is illuminating this scene using image-based lighting, and the skylight is set to get its color from the scene environment, which is the bitmap that we just looked at. So that's how this is set up. We've corrected it, and now we're going to get rid of the teapot and save this as corrected HDRI template. And I'm just going to save it here in my default scenes folder. And now I need to reference that in the template. So here's how you do that. You go to the help menu and choose welcome screen. And here you can choose open template manager. And then in here I can select that template. And here's the scene file that it used initially. It's really buried in a deep subfolder here. But I'm going to change that. I'm going to select the corrected HDRI template. And that's all I have to do. Now it's selected. So I'll click done. And then let's close this over here. So if I were to start over, let's say I go reset. Yes, I want to reset. And I'm going to clean everything out. And I'm going to make a new file from a template. I'm going to make it with this sample. Create the scene. And now that that's created, I want to check to see if it changed the environment in the way that we did earlier. So let's just verify that. Rendering, environment, scroll down, and you'll see, yes, it worked. Custom 200 candelas is corrected. So there you have it. That's how you adjust templates, and you can learn from the templates that ship with Macs, and now you can create your own.